Let's go back to 10, and then we'll slide 10, and we'll talk about some other pieces and parts of the tire. We've got steel belts. Most tires, again, sold here have steel belts on top of a carcass, and the steel belts are at an angle. And again, we change this angle to change the characteristic of the ride, the handling of the tire. The inner liner basically holds the air in the tire, and then the bead filler gives the tire stability. All these things we change and tune to give the tire the characteristics that it needs to satisfy the customer. So that's and again, polyester is the cord of choice. So getting back, we've kind of talked about this tire, but what's important to people? What do we need to tell the people? First of all, how much air do you put in your tire? The answer is the amount of air you put in your tire is determined by the tire manufacturer. If you open up the door of your car, the door on the driver's side or in the glove box, it should tell you how much air pressure you need to put in the tire. Remember, the air supports the vehicle, not the tire. So you need to have the right amount of air in the tire in order for the tire to support and be safe. A good example, we go to slide number 11, and we see a family, they've got their station wagon loaded, and the station wagon weighs 6,600 pounds. The tires are rated for 6,600 pounds at 30 psi, so they're fine. However, if they're only at 20 psi, they're 1,600 pounds overloaded. That's 8 people at 150 pounds a person. So that's a big problem, is when you overload your tires, heat builds up in the tires. Heat is the enemy of tires because the rubber breaks down. And that's what causes your problem. So you need to put the right amount of air in the tire. Tires lose air. Why do we need to check air in our tires? Tires lose air, probably 1 psi a month, just because air, molecule by molecule, comes out of the tire. Number 2, change in ambient temperature. For every 10 degrees Fahrenheit change in temperature, the tire pressure changes by 1 psi. So as we go into winter, it used to be 70 degrees. It's now 0. That's 7 psi in the tire. So just the very
can happen overnight. Not overnight, but very quickly.
Anytime. You need to check tire pressure when the tire is cold, because heat will build up, and usually it builds up to like 3 psi. And that's the problem, is that when what happens is, as your tire rolls, the sidewalls bend a little bit, and when they do, that causes heat. But if you don't have enough air in the tires, they bend a lot. And if they bend a lot, that generates heat.
A lot more heat.
And again, when you get to about 300 degrees, which is not hard to do if you're really underinflated, the rubber breaks down and the tire breaks down. The polyester turns to glass, and the rubber turns to liquid.
Seemed like somewhere I read or saw where a lot of accidents are actually caused by tire problems.
Sure.
Where they're underinflated.
If they're underinflated too, they also don't have the cornering capability that the tire does, because they're softer. So if your tire is uninflated and you have to make a quick turn, the vehicle is not going to turn as fast as you expect it to, and it goes sliding off the road. So you need to check the air in your tires. Now, how can you tell the right amount of air in your tires? You can't tell by looking. Okay? Let's go to slide number 12. Slide number 12 shows the tire at 20 psi. That's underinflated, at least probably 10 pounds underinflated. But you can't tell that by looking at it, because if we go to slide 13, we see a tire that's inflated to the right pressure, and you can't tell the difference. So you're not going to be able to tell the difference just by looking at the tire. You need to use a tire gauge to check your tires. And again, to reemphasize that, going to slide 14, we see another example of a tire 30 psi next to a tire that's 20 psi. Again, that's looking right at the tire. You see a little bit of bulge on the tire that's underinflated, but you really can't tell. On the right is a sticker, again, that's on your car door that tells you how much air you need to put in your tire. And you need, again, we tell people you need to check your tire pressure every month, because you're going to lose 1 pound just by the air coming out of the tire and change in ambient temperature. So that's important. The other thing that's important is tire wear. When do you replace a tire? Well, we go to slide 15, we can see kind of some wear patterns. First of all, we have what's called a wear bar in the groove of the tire, and that's 2/32 shallower than the base of the groove. That tells you that you need to replace the tire. In fact, That's the law. If your tire is under that, any place on the tire, you can get a ticket for it.
Oh, wow.
So you need to look at that. If your tire wears on the shoulder, it's probably an alignment problem with the car. If your tire wears on the shoulder, on one shoulder, it's an alignment problem. If it wears on both shoulders, you're probably underinflated. Another problem with underinflating tires is it reduces tire wear by a bunch. If you're overinflated, or if you have a tire on the back of a light pickup truck and you're heavy on the throttle, you're going to wear out in the center. So you need to look at your tires, make sure they're wearing right, and what we do is we recommend you rotate your tires every 5,000 miles. Because wear patterns on the front of a vehicle are different than the wear patterns on the rear of a vehicle. And if it's a front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, or pickup, you still need to rotate your tires in order to get the best possible performance. So that's the little primer on tires that we went through. So
we're going into our last show was about winter vehicle maintenance and what have you going into the winter. And with all-season tires now, are those okay? Is there any
all-season tires, again, we design tires, and again, you work for General Motors. General Motors has very specific requirements for snow traction and snow handling that we meet. So every original equipment tire, all-season tire on a General Motors vehicle is good for snow. But as the tire wears, the more the tire wears, the less it's going to be good in the snow. So another good reason to replace your tire is improve wet traction, performance, and snow traction. An all-season tire is perfectly good for snow. However, in the last 5 or 6 years, winter tires, all-position winter tires, have become very popular, and they are much better in the ice, much better in deeper snow. However, they do wear a little bit faster than normal tires do. So we have a takeoff period. Is you'll put your winter tires on maybe in November, December, and take them off in March. But they're much better in the snow and give you a lot of confidence. Front-wheel drive vehicles tend to be better in the snow because more weight in the front. Rear wheel, not so good. But a lot of people are going to winter tires, especially if you go up, you have a steep driveway, that kind of thing. It gives you a lot more confidence. And again, on ice, they're much, much better.
From the consumer's point of view, I'm just curious, when you go out and you're doing your tire shopping, we all do that, and when you have the same, you look at the size for a tire for my vehicle, and this tire is $95, and this tire is $145 or $100 whatever. Why is there? What's the difference?
Why do you know? That's a good question. Again, tires are, there's probably, I think we're talking 20 different compounds of rubber in a tire. If you have a tire that came on your vehicle, and again, you work for General Motors. General Motors has a TPC. They put a number on their tire. There's a TPC number on that. If you replace the tire on your vehicle with a TPC replacement, you're going to get exactly the same performance that you had when the tire was new, and the vehicle will do exactly what it did. That's probably going to be a premium tire because, again, for General Motors, the tire has to be good for wet traction, snow traction, wear, noise, everything. So we tire manufacturers put a lot of work into designing tires for that. So it's going to be kind of expensive, but again, you're going to get exactly the same performance in your vehicle you had when it was new. Now, if you go to your tire dealer, if you're only going to keep your car for maybe another year, then maybe you need a tire. You don't need a tire quite a premium tire. But again, if you don't get the same tire as the original equipment tire, then the performance of your car is going to be a little bit different. And again, it's important to talk to your tire dealer and have him explain how the difference in performance of the tire that you're taking off with the tire that you're putting on. And again, with General Motors, it's easy. The TPC tire, if you put a TPC tire on your vehicle, doesn't matter the brand, has the same TPC number on it, it's going to perform exactly the same as the new tire. Not true of Ford. Ford dealers sell tires, but they're not original equipment tires.
Very good.
Because we had that, we talked about that last time, and we had a customer, and it's interesting.
Yeah, you explained that. Nightmare. And it wasn't your fault either.
Yeah, but no, that's a good point.
Well, as we begin to wrap up things today, what a wealth of information that you gave us. I want to remind our viewers that all of that, the graphics that we had here today, you can find on PremierPontiacGMC.com. So please refer to that. And also, the shows are all can be found on premierautonews.com. So if you wanted to watch any back shows, as well as finding Premier Pontiac GMC on Facebook. But any final thoughts for our customers today? I mean,
Tires are important.
You know, it's just something people take for granted, and it's like, when you said the air supports the tires, and you think, well, we got these tires, we got these wheels. You think but the tires are supporting it, and based on how much tire pressure
Great.
there is, depends on
everything.
how much
Exactly.
load you can have, or legally have, or not have, or whatever the case may be. And
Well,
Joe, I really appreciate you coming
Yes.
here, and
Thank you for
you enlightened me a
Tom,
lot.
Jamie,
I'll
I
tell you,
appreciated it,
for sure.
and it was good. I hope your
Very
fans
informational.
out there will take it
Very
to heart.
I think so. It was
All right. A little bit
excellent.
more about the
Appreciate
tires.
it.
Thanks
Thank you
again.
very much.
Have a great day.
Thank you.